So we're a team from the Marine Mammal Centre at Cal Academy of Sciences, and we're here to do a necropsy on this whale that was found dead here yesterday.
What does that entail? What will happen?
So it's a complete dissection. We'll have to try and find out why it died. So that would mean determining whether it was physical trauma that killed it, whether it was malnutrition, or whether it was a disease.
You've had pretty good success once you do these necropsies in learning the cause of death, I think.
We have. This is actually the 9th whale that we've been able to do a necropsy on this year. And for the rest of them, only 2 still have some question marks as to why they died. So we had 4 animals that were definitely malnutrition related, 3 that were definitely ship strike related.
And what leads to malnutrition?
Well, these are these are gray whales, and it relates back to their life cycle. So they're born in Mexico, they migrate to Alaska, the Bering Sea for summertime, and that's where they feed. And then they migrate back south again to Mexico. But during the migrations, or while in Mexico, they don't feed. So all of their feeding is based on what happens in the Arctic. So last summer, these whales were not getting enough food in the Arctic. That's the crux of the problem.
So is there anything you've noticed about the condition of the whales during migration season this year?
Yes.
Also, sorry, if you speak up just a little bit.
Okay. All right. So the biologists who studied the migration pattern of the whales noted that when they were migrating south last fall and when they arrived in Mexico at the lagoons, they were already in poor body condition. So about 50% of the population were judged to be below normal body condition back then. So the winter then followed and they were not feeding, and now they're on the northern migration. So that's a lot of time, a lot of energy without any additional food. So they're definitely in poor body condition now, and way worse than they should be for this time of year. And that's why some appear to be coming into San Francisco Bay Area to feed, which wouldn't be a normal feeding area for them. So apart from these animals that have died, the biologists have seen a lot more live whales come in here trying to feed. Whether it was successful or not, we don't know, but this is not where they should be on the northern migration. They should be going straight back to Alaska to feed up there.
So is there a solution for their feed source up there?
Well, if there is, we don't know it yet. So we would need a lot more research to try and figure out why the food might have been not available last summer when it should have been. We don't know how it's going to be this summer. If they have a really good summer this year, it may be fine. They may be able to put on condition again, and the animals that will survive to get back there should do okay, but that's something we still have to wait and see.
In general, while this is a great opportunity to learn for these scientists,
is
it alarming to you to see this many whales already this year?
Yes, and it's also exhausting. It's a lot of work. The previous time when we've had this many whales, you have to go back 20 years, 1999, 2000. And back then, in the sort of general Bay Area, there was about 25 whales found dead here. Now, since that, in the intervening years, things have been pretty good. We've had maybe 1 or 2 a year. But so this year, we're way above average.
What do they eat?
So they feed on the bottom. They take in mouthfuls of sand and silt, and they will sieve out anything that's in there. So worms, shellfish, invertebrates. They don't feed on fish. So people sometimes confuse them with humpback whales that do the lunge feeding, anchovies, and they feed up in the water column. These feed in a totally different part of the ecosystem. So when people think that we compete with them for fish, that is not the case with gray whales. They're feeding on something very different.
Is there a reason there wouldn't be those resources available for them over the past couple of years?
We don't know why that is. Traditionally, that would be a resource that shouldn't vary all that much, which is almost something that's in the substrate. It's not generally affected so much by water temperature, currents, or that kind of thing. So why it has been bad in this past year, we don't know yet.
Do you know the approximate age or whether it's a male or female yet?
This is an adult animal, and I don't know whether it's a male or a female. I haven't had a close look at it yet, but it's adult size.
And this could take days or weeks to have the results of it.
To get all the results in, yes. The necropsy exam, the gross exam that we do here today, we'll have a result in a few hours. The rest of the tests take time. So we do histopathology exam, that's examination of the tissues microscopically. That can take a few weeks to get slides back, you get those red. We do toxicology tests, bacteriology tests, virology, genetics, a lot of different tests. And they all vary in how long it will take to get the results back.
Just from looking at the whale, does this look like it has a poor body condition?
It doesn't look like it has good body condition, yes. So we'll know exactly when we get the chance to measure the blood depths on it.
We're also seeing some wounds on it. Can you just describe, based on what you're seeing in this particular whale, if you were just to make some guesses about what it's been going
I don't like to do that because that can be very deceptive. Animals floating around in the water after they've died and floated or floating around, any ship or boat can hit them and you get trauma externally, but it's not what killed them. So it wouldn't be good to speculate at this stage what killed them.
But it does have poor body.
Yes.
It's fair to say that the results will be in
We'll have preliminary results today.
preliminary results. Final results will be released.
Could be.
And again, just 9 whales in 2 months. Any thoughts on that?
Well, it's a lot of whales, and it's concerning that so many of them are malnourished. We've had, as I said, 4 that were definitely malnourished, another one that was malnourished but also got struck by a ship while it was still alive. That's what finally killed it, but it was in poor body condition and perhaps within an area it shouldn't have been in, and that's why it got struck. And then we had 3 that were clearly in good body condition, actually excellent body condition, and they were unfortunate enough to have been struck by a ship. Now that is something we do see every year, and we've seen an increasing number of ships struck and entangled whales every year over the last 20 years, and that's an alarming trend. So that is definitely an increasing trend. That is something that's caused by us directly, and it's something that humans, people, society can do something about. And that's what we're trying to help with in documenting these cases, along with our colleagues with NOAA and the other stranding networks, to try and work out where these ship strikes are happening, how frequently, and whether it's something that can be mitigated by the shipping industry in terms of where the ships travel and what speed they're traveling at.